Dan, are you with us? Show us your
I am
webcam.
indeed. Hi.
Has he got his web? There we go. Hello.
Hi.
We were having a quick chat before we got live, and the interesting part is on Talk Photography, where we usually talk in photography. You're technically not a photographer, but you're the son of a photographer and things, really. So you are a first. Yeah. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, pleasure. I know we're going to be talking a little bit about, well, we're going to do it live, isn't it? How you can basically take a photograph and share it almost instantaneously. So if you're an events photographer any way, then tonight is going to be exciting, I think, no matter what with it. Before we get there, Dan, talk us about you. Who are you? Where are you in the world? What's your background, etc.?
Yeah, no worries at all. So I'm Dan from Shoot Systems. We are the developers of Shoot and Share. We're a family-run business. We're currently based in Brighton. We've been going for sort of over 20 years now. We started off as event photographers. So we started off sort of doing lots of pay-as-you-go jobs, parties, bar mitzvahs, all sorts, going out, selling photos. And over the years, we kept getting asked for sort of different things. And then, as many photographers have probably found, we struggled because the software we were using wasn't doing the things that we wanted it to do. So we then decided to start developing our own photo software that we called Shoot and Print. Kind of does what it says on the tin, and you shoot and you print really easily. And then over the years, we've sort of integrated more and more into that as we've been asked to do more and more things. We started working a lot with experiential marketing companies, so doing a lot of photo sharing was a big thing that people were asking us to do. So we sort of came up with the idea of linking people to photos via QR cards, QR receipts, and we just wanted to create the most instant way of people being able to deliver their photos online. And as any software, we sort of chucked loads and loads into it over the years. So now it does green screen video, animated foregrounds, GIF boost, pods, does the lot. So it's a great little tool for us to use in-house. And it kind of brought us into an industry that we never really planned to get into, which was Santa's Grotto photography. So as me and Mark were talking about before this, we somehow become one of the largest suppliers for Santa's Grotto photography. And we basically supply the equipment, the hardware and the software, deliver it on site using our software, and then sort of sit back and let the support calls roll in. So we did, I think over the last 2 years, we've done about 68 sites is the most we've done in 1 year. And that's just me and one other guy supporting it. So we very much sort of tailor-made our software to be as bulletproof as possible. And sort of as we've been doing this Grotto stuff, it's great, it's brilliant for a few sort of months of the year, obviously. But then it got the brain ticking on how we can help other photographers do what we do. Obviously, we're specializing and getting asked a lot to do our photo sharing, and we thought, let's create an app that we can share with the world to do what we do, which has kind of brought us here today, I suppose. And obviously, we'll go into a bit more detail about Shoot and Share and our application and sort of what it does.
How big is the events market now? I'm not so much saying that you'll know a figure, but it feels like it's almost as busy as ever, except photographers are struggling more and more to find ways to really get paid for it. So when we talk about events photography, how do you see the umbrella of events photography?
I mean, it's a huge industry, and people, it depends, there's different elements and different spikes of the umbrella that you can go down. There's going on site and selling prints, there's being paid by corporate to be there and give everyone free photos. And people will never stop wanting, even though you've got smartphones and people that can take photos and selfies, people will never stop wanting to have a physical print or to have a professional photo taken of them. And I think the events industry is still massively out there with lots of different umbrellas. And as with any technology, it just grows and evolves. And a lot more photos now are obviously going online rather than being printed. But I say that, and we do Santa's Grotto photography where the prints, everyone wants a print. So we're kind of touching on both ends of the spectrum there. But I think there's definitely still a lot of work out there.
Because technology has always been almost the problem element, isn't it? In the past couple of decades of digital, it should have kind of been cured, but in fact, because of the tech, and not everybody is tech savvy, are they? they kind of
Yeah.
create the problem. Even the likes of the Mitsubishis, you know, they had their kind of software and blah blah blah. But still, if something breaks down on an event, you're
Yeah.
stuffed because you're there to make money on the night, isn't it? Yeah.
100%, and we understand more than anyone the reliability of software and the importance and how that works. Again, going back to our Santa's Grotto photography, the fact that we can support 68 sites with me and one other person at the end of a phone, we don't even go out and visit these sites. It shows that bulletproof software is so important in a fast-paced industry. As you said, you can't rely on something that's going to keep breaking down and mess up your workflow and lose you money. You can actually end up, if you get the wrong software, you can physically lose money on a job from refunds, from not being able to sell the photos, from however it works. Software is definitely something that a lot of photographers are reliant on.
So I used to have to do events photography. This for many, they'll basically not know this at all, right? But we go back to 85, 86, 87, 80, no, 86, 87, probably into 88 as well. But I was running photographers at 6 hotels in Cardiff over the Christmas party time. And the reason we used to have a multiple venue with different photographers was because we used to have to keep a 1-hour lab open. We used to have to pay for their staff to stay there. So we'd basically shoot, go drop all the film off, wait for them to be processed for us, take them all back. They'd all be pegged out on lines and people would be buying from them. And basically we were doing about £400 to £500 a night in the 80s from a photographer in a 1-hour lab and things, really. So I know what we're talking about today is a lot less stress, because basically, you know, you'd have one site who you'd be doing loads of money from, and then you'd have another site where it's basically doing like 200 quid. And it was a nightmare because basically paying the photographer the same amount of money, the lab the same amount of money, and you were just praying. But of course, all they were buying them was one print. I mean, the benefit of digital, of course, it changed itself. And so people could buy multiple images on the night. But I always felt that the events photographers pretty much stopped there. And they didn't really allow for after sales or whatever it is. How do you see the events world now? Forget about shoot and share for a minute, but how have you seen the events world change to do with photographers? Are they inherently still selling on the day, or are they actually selling post as well?
Oh, massively, always on the day. It's always been like that, and I think other photographers will hopefully vouch as well. By the time someone's gone home, you've lost the sale, basically. The chance of them purchasing a photo decreases massively. And we've found that, and from the feedback we've had from other people, the selling on the day at the time, if you're going to sell photos, is still definitely the way forward. Because sort of people purchase in the moment, and people that might not have purchased will, just because it's there and in front of them, will purchase. At the Santa's Grottos, the kid will be there whinging, saying, I want my photo, which will make the parent buy it. By the time they get home, you've kind of lost that, and the photo's not there in front of them. So I definitely think the on-site sales mechanic is still definitely the way forward in events.
I wasn't sure with the likes of proms, because everything is so instant, and because they've all got one of these, you know, they're doing lots of their own images. They haven't got the good backgrounds or whatever it would be yet, but are they investing into a photographer to be there on the night who's going to use the likes of shoot and share? So in other words, instead of buying prints on the night, they're basically getting their image delivered straight away on the good background and everything else. How are you seeing that kind of morph in the next 2 or 3 years?
Everything is, of course, going to start going more digital, as we've spoke about. It just naturally is, and people, especially the sort of next generation of people that are coming up, the first thing is everyone expects instant. That's what people expect. It's just an expectation now. With the way that phones load, the internet loads, and everything loads, everything just seems to be quite instant. So I think that the photographers are going to have to start coming up with more and more ideas and ways to be able to instantly give people these photos, whether it is the instant printing or the instant photo sharing or the instant you can buy this now, just follow the link on this card. I just think personally it's always this, it's this 24 hours block after that you're going to lose sales. But I definitely see digital is going to start evolving, but I still think the physical prints will remain for quite a while yet. We're not seeing any signs of that decreasing as well. But they go hand in hand. People want both. The first thing people do if you give them a print is take a photo of it.
Yeah, you're right there. So as far as the kind of let's go back to the Santa's Grotto for a minute. You know, are you still producing on site as well as then kind of taking them off site? How does it work from your side?
Exactly that, yeah. So we do on-site printing, and then we also offer uploads as well for the sites that have internet. Obviously, not all of them have internet, so it's not always available. But the way that it works is we have these lovely little QR cards here. They scan the card when they have their photo taken. They scan it at a sales kiosk to view their photos. And then once they've made a purchase, the software automatically puts the photo online and attaches it to the QR card. So when they get home, they just scan the QR, and they've also got a digital version of their print as well.
And is it a different QR code for each client then? Or is it the same QR code and then like an access to an image, or how does it work?
Yeah, so per client, you can have 5-6 photos of that client on their photo on that card. But the way that we've always operated and always worked is to link people to their individual photos rather than web galleries, rather than looking through dubious amounts of photos. We've always sort of targeted getting people to their individual photos.
So that, I suppose, makes it a lot safer of images, and everybody's not going to have access to everybody's images as well and things, really.
Oh, massively, yeah. And especially if you're dealing with younger kids and stuff like that, you have to be very careful with security. You've got GDPR breaches, all this kind of stuff. And we find by linking you directly to your photo, that's the only one you can see. It's definitely a much safer way of photo sharing. And still, if someone's running an event, you can still send the person that is running the event all the images. However, we find that the individual people at that event, it's much better to deliver it straight to their image.
Okay, so let's jump forward 5 years. Where's event photography in five years? Where's your visionaries? Because I mean, if you go back 5 years ago, QR code was some kind of a strange thing that hardly anybody knew about. And we were chatting before we went live. Is like, well, we were using QR codes, but unless you were really tech savvy, really a QR code kind of didn't exist. Then Apple, I think it was about 6 years ago, added it into the Apple iPhone as far as it's acknowledging, because before that you used to have to download an app and then it would be full of adverts and all that stuff and everything else with it. But then COVID comes along and basically teaches the world about QR code. So if we now acknowledge 5 years ago QR code was a disease and today QR is a code, where are we in 5 years as far as the event industry is concerned? How are you guys seeing it?
Again, I think you're still going to have stuff like QR codes, and as you said, we've been using them before they were cool, before they were a thing, and as you said, that they were not as readily known. But there's so many different ways now that you can get photos and get things to people. With not even just QR codes, we've already started using contactless, so you can take a photo and literally tap it on their phone, and it will pop up with the photo in the same way that you use contactless payments. Stuff is always going to keep evolving, but I think the core of what a lot of people use will still stay. There's certain things that will sort of stand their ground, but obviously with AI developing in the way that it is, it's very difficult to sort of have any knowledge on where it's going to be in 5 years.
Okay, cool. Look, there's loads of people asking me what is shoot and share and everything else. Should we just switch straight over to a quick demo of it? Is that okay? And then it'll probably kind of stimulate a lot. I've got some questions anyway that we want to kind of continue on. Let me make you the presenter.
If you do, just before you do that, you can still see me anyway, can't you? So
yeah, I can see you, and we can still,
Okay, give me one sec. So if I show my screen, you'll still see me, just because I'll basically show you taking the photo of the QR, and then I'll sort of show you the back end of where it's going and how it is.
Sorry, I was just on the way to copy your link to shoot and share. Let me just double check everything for a minute. So I can see you. I can't see your screen yet.
Yeah, no, if I do show my screen.
There we go. Got it.
Oops, I'm just going to move this out of the way. So the way that Shoot and Share works is we use these QR cards to link customers directly to their photos. There are other apps out there, obviously, that do linking you by finding your face or by registering your email address. But the idea of this software is there's no registration for the end user. It is literally you scan a QR and you get your photo. So if I show you this, I'm currently using a Sony A7. It's a great bit of kit. And we're currently sending the photos to our app via FTP. However, there's other ways you can drag and drop. There are other ways to do this. So all I'm going to do now is just take a photo of the QR, making sure it's nice and central. I'll zoom this in a bit. And then if I take a nice photo of my screen, take a photo of you, put your thumbs up. That's it. Excellent. So now to sort of show you, it's sort of within 4 or 5 seconds, I'll show you it on my computer rather than scanning a QR on my phone because you won't really see it very well. So give me 2 seconds for this to load.
I've just put the link, guys, to the Shoot and Share site anyway. Okay, sorry.
So you'll see on here that there's an image ID. What I'm doing now is the equivalent of someone just scanning that code. You could even try and scan that code now if you wanted, but I'm not sure if my webcam
hang on a minute,
have it focused enough.
Let me just put on my phone.
If you can give it a go.
Would help if I actually open the phone.
I'm not sure if it'll be in focus enough to be able to do.
I don't think it is, no. Bring it back a touch. It's close. We're trying it live.
Yeah.
No, it's not doing it.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll manually type this in and then you'll see. So TJPUYG. And this is the equivalent of what would happen if you scanned your QR. So the customer would then see all their images on a branded microsite ready to download and share that quickly. So these were probably on there 10, 15 seconds before I've shown you. So it's that quick. And obviously I've made a microsite here with your logo on, how to make photo sharing easy. I've put my own overlay on it. You can change the background and you can change all of these elements per event. So you could create 5 different events and have 5 different sites that people would end up at, all of them with your own branding and own specific branding for that event. Then I literally just click the download and share, and that just obviously downloads the photo for you to be able to share and do with as you wish. So that is the basic concept of what we do. So you can see there if I open it up, there's your lovely photo.
Okay, wow.
So it's that quick and easy. And what I can do now is show you the software side of it, and you'll get a bit more of an understanding of how it works and how we're doing what we do. So this is Shoot and Share. So when you first log in, you'll create an event. So this is your event. You've got a prefix, which is just for file naming. You name your event, put your email in. This is where you upload your logo, your background. So those things there relate to obviously this logo here in your background. Your tagline, which is under here, so you don't have to have anything, but it's all just customizable. And then you've created your event. So then that will take you to, this is where you import your images. I just refresh this. So here we can see the images that I've imported here. So this, because I've got an FTP camera, sends it. I've given it a login to my account and it sends it directly to our software. And what our software is doing is analyzing every single photo. So it sees when there's a QR in it, takes the ID of that QR, and then links all the photos after it to that ID until you take another photo of a QR, and then it links those ones to the next ID. So if I carried on taking photos now, they would just continue coming onto that specific card. And then if I took another photo of a card, it would come up. So these are some more test ones I was doing before. There's our lovely staff in our office. And you can see there's multiple photos linked to that ID. If you don't have FTP, there's an import folder, so you can literally run around a venue with an SD card, and then you just take them off your SD card, drag and drop them to the import folder, and that will analyze all the images and then put them into the software like this. So this would work even if you're shooting at a venue that doesn't have Wi-Fi. You could roam around with just a camera and an SD card, give people their cards, let them know it will be online in an hour, in however long you'll be back at a computer with Wi-Fi, and then just drag and drop, and they'll all go online.
Could you talk through FTP, please, is one question. We don't have to do that now if you're doing anything, because I've got really bad experiences to do with that with Canon cameras from years ago and their little connector. We won't talk about it.
Yeah. So FTP, it's a funny one because not a lot of people know how to use it, and there's not a lot of things out there. You get press photographers might use it when they're doing fast shoots and they want to share the images instantly on their magazines and for media and media coverage. But FTP's come a long, long way probably since you've used it. And we find like with this Sony A7, it's incredible. You basically give it a login. So FTP is file protocol transfer, which file transfer protocol. And so what it's doing is sending photos directly to a server. We give it a username and a password, which relates to your specific account on Shoot and Share. So this camera is completely independent of my computer. I could be in Australia just with my camera and it would still upload the photos to this piece of software. So it's not in any way connected to the computer itself. It's connected to the hosting site that these photos are being processed on.
Okay, so I don't need a laptop or anything else with me if I'm connecting on FTP, yes?
Correct. You just set your project up or your event up on your laptop, and then yeah, you're completely independent. You can just roam around with the camera, taking photos and instantly sharing them.
Somebody's coming through. Does it also record to the card at the same time?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, in fact, you need an SD card in there to be able to use FTP.
Okay. What's the setup costs for the simplest way to get into this SIS system? So if you can't go for the Sony that you've got, what's the easy route? Obviously, drag and drop, I suppose, is the quickest way, isn't it?
Exactly that. Yeah, so drag and drop, you could use any camera whatsoever. You could use the cheapest camera on the market. You could even use your mobile phone if you wanted to take photos on your phone and drag and drop them. The main thing is just, yeah, being able to get the photos, the nice photos of a QR and putting them on your computer and dragging them into here. So we've deliberately made this software completely hardware independent. So it doesn't matter what hardware you have. It's a web-based app, so it doesn't matter if you're on PC or Mac. The idea that we've deliberately done this so that it's as open as possible for anyone that wants to use it.
Can clients buy from the gallery now?
So this is a very good question. So this is our first app that we've developed, or the beta version of the app, should I say. So we're actually looking in the next month or 2 months, we are going to put something in here to be able to sell the photos, where you'd literally just put a price in, you put it on sales mode. It would then put a overlay, so a watermark on here, and it would come up with the price on here, and they'd be able to purchase photos online and you can sell your photos. However, that mode is not currently available in our app, but it is definitely something we are working on in the background.
Okay, and there's a second part to that question is, if so, will that be direct ship to client?
So this mechanic is based online only. So we are in no way a fulfillment service that would sort of send the photos to the clients. This is all to do with just the download and the purchase of digital copies.
Okay, perfect. What's the basic cost for Shoot and Share?
So the application itself is free of charge. However, you just purchase the QRs as and when you need them. So the idea is we didn't want to go down a process where you have to sign up for anything and pay monthly, because we know that this is a piece of software that someone might want to use for a one-off job or might want to use continuously. So you basically purchase the QRs as and when you need them. And I can get the prices up on screen here for you to see. So if I go into here, so you just order the cards directly from within the app. And the idea is if you're using it for just a sort of one-off job, the cards are going to cost you a bit more. If you're using it for, if you're buying them in bulk, it becomes cheaper. So you've got £2 a card if you're just getting 50 cards, or if you go to sort of 5,000, 10,000 cards, it goes down to 30p. And we delivered the cards ready to go. So exactly as you see here, they're literally out the pack, ready to go and start shooting. And we can also supply the digital cards. So if you wanted to go and get your own cards printed, you can put them on stickers, labels, lanyards, whatever you want. We can give you the digital files of the QR rather than the print. And then it works out a bit cheaper because we don't have to fulfill the shipment and the stock of the cards. So that's 15, 20p it goes down to per QR.
Okay. And as far as the physical card is concerned, is that printed with the photographer's own logos on there and information and so on with it, or is it a Shoot and Share card? That was a question from me, not from them.
Yeah, no worries. So it's a Shoot and Share card. They are generic because obviously we get them made in bulk and we ship them out. we register the cards to you, so we know that each ID belongs to a user. However, if you wanted to get your own cards made with your branding on, you would just get the digital copies of the QRs and go to any printer, would get them printed for you. We basically give you all the PNGs and then a file with all the file names, and you can give it to any printer to print for you.
Okay. Somebody's saying, I shoot for a local nursery once a year, but I don't do this as a profession. Is this useful for me?
It could be potentially, yeah. I mean, it depends what you're charging and what your model is. It's very difficult to say. It's all a workflow tool, but it's very difficult to know how you're pricing stuff, because this doesn't tell you how to price anything. If you put this in the price and said we can charge you X amount and everyone goes home with a branded photo, then yeah, definitely it could be brilliant for that kind of job.
Okay. Another question. I shoot a lot of corporate events where I'm paid to be there, but basically clients get all images. How do you see this working for me?
Yeah, we do a lot of those jobs as well. So the idea of this is this is perfect for those kind of jobs, because you price it up with the cards, everyone gets their own photos, and then what you do at the end, if I go to imported photos, this shows me all of the photos that are from an event. So yeah, so if I go to imported photos, and then all you can do is select all, download, and you can just send the client a zip file with all the images in. If I go to published photos, this one here will show the photos with the branding on. So you could literally just hit select all, download, send that to your client, but also each individual person at that event will also get their images. And it also means they're not searching through big web galleries to find their photos, but you're sort of satisfying both ends of the event.
Okay, another question through. I really do like this idea for my wedding photography. Could you talk me through a basic scenario of how you think this could work for me?
Yeah, definitely. So for wedding photographers, we see this as either a bolted add-on for your package, or you sort of sell it as an extra, as I say, a roaming photo booth, for instance, because you're still always going to do your standard portrait shots of the bride and groom and stuff like that, and you wouldn't want anything to get in the way of that. So if you've got a second photographer, for instance, they're not going to be busy all day, so they come with a stack of these cards, they go around doing fun photos of guests, snapping away, and then at the end of the event or during the event, you drag and drop and upload. And we would price this up. You just say to the bride and groom, it's an optional extra, or you use it as an added value package to yourself to stand out, because it's something that I can guarantee not a lot of other wedding photographers will offer.
Okay, I think what they want to, let's go to the next question anyway. So if I'm shooting 50 guests stroke couples at a wedding, would I need 50 cards or one?
Yeah, exactly that. So you need 50 cards. So the way it is, you snap the card, snap the guest, give them a card, next one. Snap the card, snap the guest, give them the card, next one. So each guest has their individual card, which takes them to their individual picture.
Okay. I think you just talked them through what was the question before. In fact, that's what they did.
Okay, get it. Okay.
Still,
and the other thing.
Sorry.
So the other thing to remember as well is you can have multiple photos on the card. So if you came back to a guest, for instance, they can just hold their card up, snap, 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 take a photo of them, and that will also just load onto their card. So they can end up with almost a sort of mini gallery of just themselves.
Okay. I'm still having a problem with FTP. What am I doing wrong? They haven't stated what camera or what system or whatever. Can we just talk them through that again?
So with us, the FTP is on a camera, it will basically ask you for a domain, a username, and a password that we would supply to our user. That would be linked to their individual account. So we'd basically, you give them that information, they type it into their camera, make sure their camera's on Wi-Fi, and then every photo that they take will be sent to that server, which is obviously related to their software.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense.
It does. I said the questions would come through, didn't I? Based on what the pricing was, if I'm photographing, say, 50 guests at the wedding, I think they mean couples in that. What is the minimum? What is the minimum cost that would be for me realistically?
So the minimum cost would be, you'll be looking at, so if you say, for instance, you just bought 50 cards, you'd be looking at £2 a card. So it's 100 quid for 50 cards, and that should last if you've got 50 couples. Because if there's 50 couples, you only need one card per couple, which would be 25.
Okay.
But the minimum is 50 cards. Yeah, £2 a card.
So I suppose if they were then pre-thinking it and they're selling it as a bolt-on at a wedding, or even a bolt-on at a prom or a party or whatever it would be, they could theoretically just bolt another 400 quid on top, and then basically it's taking care of itself, isn't it?
Exactly that, yeah, and that's exactly how we'd price it up. This is an add-on. You just charge the client's happy because everyone gets their photos, the people at the event are happy because they get their photos, so it just kind of, it works on.
Another question then, can I put my logo on the image?
Yeah, so where it says here, the photo sharing made easy, if I show you here, so this is where you upload your overlays. So I've put in, wait for this load, so I've put in a sample photo here, and you literally just click on here, and I've made a pre-made overlay, so you just pick your image. I don't know where this one is, but you just pick your image. I can hit the preview button, and then you can see what that overlay looks like on the photo. But this branding can be anything. You just make it yourself and upload it.
Okay.
So the idea is, yeah, your branding can be on everything.
If I'm uploading directly without seeing the images, can I go in and remove images later on?
Exactly, yeah. So this little cloud button here, that allows you to remove images. So if I say, for instance, took these two images off, if I now went onto here and reloaded this, it should now, I need to type the image number in again. I won't type the image number in again, but either way, that, yes, you can add and remove images. If you accidentally snap the wrong card, if a photo didn't work, for instance, you can click this button here and you can basically tell it that it's a QR code and type the QR code in. You can attach an image to a different QR if you find that the wrong image has somehow reached the wrong QR, which we all know can happen in certain circumstances. So there's ways to edit and take down images and move them around if needed.
That's a good one. So I'm photographing a group of friends. What's the best way around it at an event? I suppose a group gallery then, is it? A friend's gallery or?
Right, I get you. So the best thing to do is just everyone scans the QR. So the easiest way to do this is you just hold the QR in the middle and just get everyone to scan it, and then everyone's got the photo, or one of them scans it and sends the photo to the others. That's the easiest way.
Okay. Does this mean there's no editing, so photo quality, exposure, etc. needs to be good in camera?
No, so this you can edit. So the way that this works is it works on the file name. So there's plenty of photographers we know that wouldn't want to share their raw images without them being edited. So yeah, you can put them all through Lightroom or whatever software you use, edit them, re-export them. As long as they've got the same file name, you still just drag and drop them with the QRs into the app and they'll all be there. But it's important to mention that this is not for high-res shooting. So this is, you're talking sort of 2-3 meg photos, because once you start shooting raw images, it takes too long to upload. The customers can't download it. They can't. It turns into unshareable content basically. So it's just to bear in mind that this is for your sort of low-res JPEG images.
Okay. Can I directly export from the shoot and share gallery to my gallery, or do I do that via my SD card?
Either or. So if you export, it depends what you want to export. If it's just the raw images, then it's easier just to put them straight from your SD card. But if you wanted to get the images with the overlays on, you just go to the published images here and select all and download, and then you'll have all the images with your branding on as well.
Okay, I think you answered this anyway. Does this work with green screen?
No, so that's not something, again, at a later date, it could be something that we look to put in it. But for the moment, we just like to keep it simple. And this is the whole joy of what we've made here, Shoot and Share, is it just does what it says on the tin. And it's just a simple piece of software for just sharing photos. So it's worth keeping updated with what we do. But at the moment, green screen's not in there.
Do you see an application for this as a schools photographer if we ignore the cost for 1 minute?
Yeah, I can definitely see this as a school photographer. And I definitely think once we put the sales element in there, you can literally sit there, take their school photos, give them the card, they get home with the card and purchase the photos online. It all depends on whether you're also doing prints as well with it, I suppose, or whether you just want to migrate and go fully digital and sell just the digital copies. But yeah, there's definitely, I could see this working for school photos.
Brilliant. Could you do the demo again, please?
Oh, here we go. The magic works twice. So here we go, a brand new card. And then I take a photo of the QR code. So what we normally do is take 3 photos of the QR code, and that way, obviously, at least if one of them reads, there's 3 to pick from. So I've just taken some photos of you. If I now go onto here, I'm going to type this ID in, but this is the equivalent. Bear in mind, this is the equivalent of scanning it with a phone. Yeah. So let's see. I might be too quick for it, but let's see if that's already uploaded. There we go. So that's how instant that's just gone online. That's from taking the shot, I'd say maybe 4 seconds maximum, and you've got a branded photo there ready for you to download and share.
Okay. Can you just confirm that I don't need to have a laptop on site to be able to use the system?
Exactly that. Yeah, that's correct. You can shoot directly to your SD card, and then you just drag and drop in your own time. Whenever you get home, you just put them into the app. So as long as they're saved onto your SD card, yes, you don't need a laptop on site.
So I think they're asking, do they need the likes of a laptop or an iPad on site to be able to actually use it directly uploading from the event?
Again, it depends. If you do have an FTP camera, then the answer is no, you can do it directly from that. But if you do not have an FTP camera, then yes, you'll have to have a laptop of some sort or a web device that you can get the photos onto, so you can put it into the import folder and upload them.
But if we were specifically about the FTP, I think that's what they're on about in that first question. So if we say that they have an FTP camera, they don't need to arrive on site with any other tech.
No, you could literally turn up just with a camera. That's it.
Brilliant. Okay. Wow, that's the most techie one I think we've ever done. So that's really good. I know you're going to do a short video for us at some stage, isn't it? To kind of show how easy it is.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so I should have that in the next few days. I'll give that to you to send out. And it's just running over exactly what I've just shown you here. Just a very quick, brief demo. We do have a more in-depth one. So if anyone does download the software and wants to know a little bit more, we do also offer demos as well. So please just get in touch, and we'd be more than happy to spend 20 minutes with you going through the options, tell us your workflow, and I can sort of tell you how we can migrate this to work.
Last question coming through. Any advice for getting into event photography? So that's an open-ended one. The first thing that I would say is just do it. Kind of put the word out there no matter what. Stick it on your website, stick it on your social, whether you're going to do, bar mitzvahs or 18th or 21st or prom or school prom or uni prom, anything is basically an event nowadays. I would say if you're going to get into the commercial photography, initially before you've actually had a chat with the likes of Dan and kind of seeing if there's a route there for you, I would definitely kind of approach local hotels who do corporate events and see if they're already linked in with a local photographer and see if you can kind of do some kind of a job together. We used to pay a kickback to the hotel. So in one hotel, they used to sell us out as a part of their package, and we got paid 30 days after. But in another one, they would direct them straight out to me. And then if we did get the job eventually, then basically we would pay them for the job, a proportion of the shoot thing. Dan, any advice from you on that?
Yeah, kind of similar, I suppose. I think the best thing you can possibly do is a free session. Always is just, can we shoot one event for free? See if you like it. If you do, we can do the next one. If not, and I'd say the second thing to remember is that event photographers aren't always your competition. As in, you can easily speak to other event photographers. There's a lot of photographers that turn down work because they have too much. So I definitely recommend also contacting other event photographers and building relationships with them. And then if they have too much work, they'll hand some over and vice versa. But it's always handy. Don't see them as competition.
Good. Dan, Brill, I've put a link into the chat panel anyway for all you guys just to go off straight into shoot and share. I'll just take the screen back for a minute. I've done, show my screen, should be showing my screen. There we go. We've done our questions and things, which is really good. Dan, thanks for tonight. I know for some of you it's heavy. But I think what we've seen is a little bit of a future. I can actually see how the likes of this. I personally think that a lot of wedding photographers are still missing out on guests, and they're just allowing monies to kind of drift past because they can't be bothered to do it. And you know, if I go back again to the late 80s, 90s, in the days of film, forget about the Saturday night at Christmas, we used to have the assistant photographer at the church door photographing every single couple before they went into church or the event. We would then do the proof back to the reception later on that day, and that was making us money. That's the key thing. If you're going to be doing photography for an income, you've got to maximize all the resources, and paying somebody, you know, 60, 70, 80 quid for the day or for half a day to be involved at the event, especially photographers who are hanging around until the first dance, everything else. I think they're missing out on so much middle income. They just look at the big picture. And I suppose a lot of the time photographers think, oh, I can't be asked. I can't be asked with all the digital editing. I can't be asked with all this. And I would say that if you're looking at the guest element, find a way, whether it's a shoot and share or the likes of, or dragging it onto a card into a gallery. But I think we've got opportunities there, Dan, haven't we? You know, you don't have to be a big brand like, you know, some of the big events. I was trying to think of one of the theme parks, who, if you go to a theme park, they're going to have event photographers at a theme park because they know that a proportion of clients will buy those images on the day. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having a photographer on site trying to flog you with photographs. Agreed?
Massively, yeah. And the more photos you take, the more chance you have of people buying. I mean, I can't even tell you how many weddings I've been to where they've taken these amazing photos of me and I've never got to see them. And I would have definitely been on site and paid something to be able to have had that photo. I think the way that you'd package this up is they're not your highly edited, high def photos. These are your fun, nice, casual photos that you're taking of the guests. And I can guarantee you they'd be more than happy with them just to have a photo taken by a professional photographer of them dressed up nice.
I mean, our worst case scenario, I'm just thinking out loud, invest in, you're giving 50 free cards away at present. Sorry, I forgot about that. And you forgot to say that as well, didn't you? Is there 50 free cards going on?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so if you visit our website at the moment, you can put your information in here. We will send you 50 free cards to your door. We'll create you an account, which is obviously free. And that gives you a chance just to go out and test the waters, see if you can use it, see where it fits in. Yeah.
I was just going to say, if people are on a budget, what they could do is actually, I was going to say, buy 50 cards, but you're giving them away, so there's no brainer there. But then even if they shot one card at the wedding and they were going up and it was just the friends gallery and people could, you've got brand marketing going on there, and that's got to be worth two quid an event. But obviously with you giving away, you just shot yourself in the foot there, I think, of what I was trying to upsell for you.
Well, it's worth bearing in mind that there's a limit to how many photos you can have per card. So you have 10 photos per card just to stop people putting a whole web gallery, because it takes the whole point out of the software that we're offering if you're putting web galleries on there, because it's to get rid of the web galleries to get them directly to their photos. Okay. But yeah, that's the reason behind the cards, is exactly that, because we know that it's a new concept. We know that it might be a bit scary for people to dip their toe in. So this is just to give them a feel for it, just to let them, I'm sure as soon as you get used to it and you put your trust in it, you'll understand that it just works and does its thing, and you'll see where you can fit it in.
Well, I'm expecting the people online tonight to all go on and register straight away. Very good. Dan, I think we're going to get you back again. I think we should try and really see this in real life and see how it's gone, and even kind of get some customers who've perhaps come through the academy, or those that you know. Perhaps we can actually see how they do it and things really. But it's looking good. It's good to see something different. I know different can be scary. Funny enough, before we went live today, I was just kind of clearing some stuff off a drive or whatever it was, and I found an old magazine cover that I'd shot, and I'd done a screen photograph of it, whatever it is, and it was from like late 90s, and it was digital. It was the first digital award I'd ever won, and at that time, it was like, wow. Today, many photographers have never shot a negative in their life. So, you know, whereas it was scary to dip your toe into digital 25 years ago, in today, it's basically everything that you do. So the technology of tomorrow is much easier to use. And I think you're showing us technology of tomorrow as well and things really for the photographic industry. So thanks for sharing on that.
No worries. And we've deliberately made this as simple as possible. That's what we do. And I'm hoping that there's not lots of big scary buttons and not lots of things that should put you off. It is what I've demoed to you here. It is as simple as that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live. We'll see you in a few weeks' time. Thanks again, Dan. Cheers now.